Hi everybody, Neil Myers from WineExpedition.com, and I'm not sitting at my desk tasting wine today. We're up here in Portland, Oregon, actually Carlton, Oregon, Oregon wine country with our one-day trip trying to get as much Oregon wine knowledge as we can. I'm here with Scott Wright. How are you, sir?
Excellent, Neil. How are you?
I'm fantastic. Now that I'm here, we are at Scott Paul Wines. This is your winery. This has been your life's dream to have a winery here making Pinot Noir, and now you're doing it.
Yeah, I'm a lifelong Pinot geek, and the Northern Willamette Valley is one of the few places on the planet where I think Pinot can really come to its fullest expression, and that's why we're here.
How long have you been here in Oregon?
10 years now.
Okay, fantastic. And we are on the crush pad.
Yep.
But I don't see any grapes.
No, the grapes are still hanging on the vines out in the vineyards.
Okay, that's interesting because it's late September, and several of the wineries we talked to were knee-deep in harvest. They were already picking their grapes.
Yeah, there's a few people who have started already. The average start date harvest-wise here historically has been September 25th, 26th, so we're right around there right now.
Sure.
And usually the younger vines are ripened first and stuff at lower elevations. So those are the people who have started from those kind of vineyards. The stuff that we work with is mostly older vines and higher elevations, so it'll be a little bit later. We're maybe a week, 10 days away from starting.
Okay, and where exactly are those grapes?
We have 3 different sites. One in the Dundee Hills that was planted in 1970. That's our oldest vineyard. And then 2 younger sites in Ribbon Ridge and Chehalis Mountains.
And how far is that from here?
They're all just within like 5 miles from here as the crow flies.
Oh, great. So the grapes have a short trip to take before they come to the crush pad, and they... Is that the press?
This is the press.
It's small. It's not like a press I've seen before.
No,
Let's go take a look.
It's made in Spain, and it's essentially like a modern, new, high-tech version of those old-school wooden basket presses that you used to see, guys pressing the grapes way back then. Well, now it's done in stainless steel. It's computer-controlled. It's all hydraulics, and you get really amazing quality press wine out of these. And it's a lot more labor-intensive.
Sure.
It takes more time, but we feel it improves the quality of the wine immensely. So everything we do here is sort of based on that, doing it the best way possible. Maybe not the easiest or the most cost-effective way, but we're trying to make the best quality wine. Quality is the only consideration for anything we do here.
Oh, and if I may add, I mean, obviously the fruit you're growing and you're sourcing must really be good enough fruit that you can do that, because if it wasn't, then...
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's all about the fruit that comes from the vineyard and capturing the quality of what you worked so hard to get out there in the vineyard over the course of the year. You can only capture it or lose some of it, but you can't elevate the quality of the fruit.
So the fruit's that good, and everything you're doing is trying to preserve and not lose any of the unique special qualities that the fruit has.
You've just described the winemaking at its purest and essence. Yeah, you just...
That's what I do. I sum it up. Again, I have to say that what caught my eye about it is that it's so small. I mean, how many cases can you produce with this thing?
Out of this press, you would get the juice from 3 tons worth of fermentation, and maybe a barrel or 2 of juice would come out of one press load here.
Sure.
But, we only make 2,500 to 3,000 cases a year, and we do just a bunch of small lots. We keep each block of each vineyard separate. And we just really try and stay in touch with every drop of juice all the way through the process. So this whole building, the whole facility is all designed for a lot of small lot production of Pinot Noir, because that's all we do.
You don't do anything else, no Chardonnay?
No, just Pinot. The Scott Paul brand is focused 100% on Pinot Noir. That's what I'm all about. It's what excites me. It's what I wake up in the morning and get excited to do and drink. So.
Now, if we wanted to add another 2 or 3 this year, you could make more wine. Wouldn't that be a good thing?
Not necessarily. I think if you go beyond a certain production level, it is hard to stay as closely involved with the wines as we are. Kelly Fox and I, who is my co-winemaker, we're so intimately involved with every drop of juice all the way through the process that if we started producing more, I don't think we could stay that close to it.
So if I go buy a bottle of Scott Paul Pinot Noir, I know that you or Kelly sort of stamp of approvals on the bottle. You guys have touched that bottle. You've touched the grapes. Everything has been, you've handled it. It came from you.
We've been there from the vineyard straight through the bottling line, and I probably took that bottle off the bottling line and packed it away into the cartons.
And that's sort of what Wine Expedition is about discovering and finding wines like that, where true artists make it and hand it to you and almost want to, it's almost like you're there watching me, drinking my glass of wine and saying, hey, what do you think? It's good wine, right?
You know what, all the way through the process, I try and keep that in my mind at all times, that the end result is somebody sitting down at their dinner table and enjoying a glass of this wine, and that's why we do it.
That's great.
To give pleasure.
And believe me, what was the bottle I had that I called you about, the Saint...
the La Palais.
The La Palais was incredible. I talked about it on the blog, just a beautiful, elegant Pinot Noir that just knocked my socks off, so that's why I called you up and said, hey, can we come up and shoot? But before we go taste some of that Pinot, I wanted to ask you about the building we're in. And we'll get some shots outside, but I mean, it's this whole area here in Carlton has extremely historic feel to it. Old brick buildings. What's the story with the area and this building?
It's an old agricultural town. There used to be a mill town. There used to be a couple of big lumber mills here, and a lot of grain business here as well. So a lot of old agricultural buildings. Where we're standing now, this was just a vacant lot when we bought these properties, and we just erected this roof over it and made this into the crush pad.
And the adjoining building here?
And then this is the actual winery,
right.
Which was an old grain elevator that was built in 1910. And when we bought it, it had been in ruins for many years, but it was all grain cribbing, little like 6 by 8 foot square rooms that just held grain going all the way up to the ceiling.
Wow.
So we had to rip all of that out, build a new building inside the old one, and made it into the winery. And we had an existing footprint we had to work within, but it worked out to be just the right size for what we want to do.
And what you've done, you've preserved the sort of integrity of the architecture, and it still feels, I mean, the building feels like it fits right in here with the other buildings that are decades older or whatever.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, no, we tried to preserve the character of the architectural heritage of what these buildings were to begin with, and when we renovated them, we tried to use, and you'll especially see when we go into the tasting room, materials that would have been here when these buildings were constructed originally, and we actually recycled and reused a lot of the original materials that were in the buildings. So we tried to stay true to the core.
Well, if I may say, to me, it's sort of just another example or a visual example of the sort of care that goes into, you take seriously making everything unique and special and good, and preserving the character of the fruit you grow. And on that note, I think I want to go taste some.
Let's do it.
Let's go.